So, on Halloween, the doorbell rang and Michael said, "I'm cooking, you go." No, I went to the door. A kid, a little guy with red hair, but dressed all the way from his neck to his feet as a skeleton. He asked me, "Hi, so which ghost is the best dancer?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "The boogeyman." Halloween is short for All Hallows Eve. This observance, which has both pagan and Christian roots, was a special day, a several-day celebration where communities honored the dead with such passion and with such detail and with such imagination that the dead, in various states of repose, would actually seem to come back to life. That is why an authentic celebrator of All Hallows Eve or Halloween will dress as a ghoul or a ghost or a goblin, or as my little trick or treater did, a skeleton. This particular season that we now use to dress as Disney characters or characters from outer space and to gorge ourselves on too much really, really bad candy. I understand Dennis sent a donation to candy every year and a thank you note. This celebration was actually a very serious season originally set aside to honor those who have passed on, those shown by lit candles on either side of me still means so very much to us. What is a saint? What do saints look like? A hallow, as in hallowed or holy, or a saint, is a person that is someone who exhibits exceptional virtue. When you or I are in their presence, we feel God moving through them and reflected from them. From the Catholic tradition, one of the great saints is Saint Andrew. Saint Andrew was the brother of Simon Peter. Andrew understood ecumenism and even inter-religious encounter in a very uncommon way. Apocryphal literature from the 1st century paints Andrew as unabashedly preaching God's as revealed through Jesus to people of many different races and cultures. The all-inclusive Andrew was martyred on the Crux de Susate, or the diagonal cross, the very cross that is on our disciples' chalice. That cross is there because Andrew's mission was to minister to people of all faiths, of all religions. Andrew made everyone welcome. Traditionally, people who have died after living a life that brought about transformation in others, or as an older generation might say, brought about miracles in others, they are called saints. The Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, our denomination, and many other denominations have enlarged the term saint to mean those who, when they were living, spent, or those who, while still living, spend their lives doing the transformative, miraculous work of bringing others closer to God. Closer to positive living and expression. That is why I often refer to you when you're doing good works for BTAC or Week of Compassion or for anyone. I often refer to the Little White Chapel congregation as saints. I have never called you hallows. In a fast-moving world, saints may have been kind to you. In an insensitive, uncaring world, they may have noticed you. Saints may have made you feel as if you belonged and you could now accomplish tasks that you before thought were impossible. Those who have inspired you may have anticipated your need and helped you get down to the bottom of your crippling challenge and gotten you through something when you were confused or maybe when you felt totally helpless. They may have borne with you through the worst. They may have helped you connect the dots or get you to the next piece of your life. A saint may have simply clarified your vision. They were a way out, a way forward, a way to keep going when you saw no way. With all of these descriptions and qualifications, who is a saint? What does a saint look like? For a child who is struggling for any reason to survive in this 21st century society, super success celebrities like Michael Phelps, who have come forward and said, yeah, my adolescence was tough. I was a skinny, too tall, pimply geek. I got picked on. I got called horrible names, Phelps said. I didn't look like anybody else. I felt like one of those one-legged air dancers that you see at dealerships, you know. And even, he says, after I got noticed, even after I started winning gold medals, I thought this pain and stress should be over. I couldn't take the bad and I couldn't take the good. Phelps admits, in the midst of my success, I was ready to kill myself. But Phelps implores those who follow him, who think of him as a success, who model themselves after him. Don't act on every impulse you feel. Phelps says, hang on. Keep living. It gets better. Phelps uses his life to point a way out in a time of epidemic teen suicide, in a time of epidemic opioid addiction. A word from people like the swimmer Michael Phelps may transform and save lives. For many parents and children struggling to make it to the next day, to make it to the next hour, someone like Michael Phelps might be thought to be a saint. Gabby Sidibe is a fast rising actor or actress. Gabby says that since she was a child, classmates and family members have taunted and made fun of her weight. She said, I don't know what it's like to not be called fat or enormous. In her room, she keeps a picture of her aunt and her aunt's best friend, feminist and journalist Gloria Steinem. The picture shows her aunt and Steinem standing with their fists high in the air, demanding their right to speak and be heard, defending their right to be just as they are. Sidibe says that every time she dresses for the red carpet, frightened that if she wears purple, she will be compared to Barney, she looks at those two women pumping their fists, and as she is leaving her house, she pumps her fist right back. Those women give her courage. They remind her that no matter how she is reviewed by the press, no matter what she is called by the public, she has a right to be in the world just the way she is. They have moved her from helpless to happy to helpful. Steinem and Sidibe's aunt go with Sidibe. They go before her. They have played a part in her transformation for her. They are saints. Right now, today, for many women and men, those coming forward to protect sexual harassment and abuse by the rich and powerful, they are saints. Now, those who have inspired me and saved me are not the same as those who have inspired you and saved you. My saints don't look like your saints. So once again, what does a saint look like? The world rapidly changes. The world is infinitely diverse. Different parts of the world finding its voices, continually calling for new courageous hallows, new visionary saints, even new images of God, reflecting on all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of cultures, all kinds of history. The diverse world is crying for saints who can connect with us as we are now, inspire us as we are now, reassure us, and yes, refocus us toward the hopeful and the good, regardless of what we are seeing and experiencing today. As the pilgrims said to Philip in the Gospel of John, yes, we would see Jesus in ever-evolving examples. The writer Gary Potter, who is no relation to Harry Potter, talks about there being no real hope of rebuilding society along Christian lines until we begin to see holiness in our everyday workplaces, in our schools, in our streets, and other ordinary venues outside of the church. I say to Mr. Potter, reflecting on the likes of Michael Phelps and Gabrielle Sidibe, on people like Ashley Judd, and so many others around the world who are speaking out in spite of evil and terror, or because of evil and terror, there is already a saintliness, there is already a holiness at work in many workplaces, in schools, and even in streets which may hold terrorists with automobiles. We have to look harder to detect it, and we have to be quick to celebrate it. Did you know that recently in a high school, some demonstrators from a local church came to the high school to protest the Gay Straight Alliance Club at the school? Oh, Bill, here you go. These good, God-fearing church members actually marched on school property and were very vocal. The church folk felt free to bully the kids and even call them names. Church people not making children feel safe. How odd. Just when it seemed that violence might break out, a significant part of the high school student body found its voice, rose up, and chased the holier-than-thou church demonstrators away from the school chanting, "God save the Queens! God save the Queens!" To the Gay Straight Alliance, those fellow students who came to their rescue must have looked like saints. Did you know that Sandy Hook parents have organized themselves into a survivors organization that works with other parents around the country to make schools safer? Did you know the Sandy Hook parents are constantly raising money to advocate for more responsible gun ownership, for more responsible handling of firearms? To other parents who are trying to create a safe school environment for their children, the Sandy Hook parents, bringing hope out of astounding grief, must look like saints. After the life-draining grieving that the survivors of those so recently killed in Las Vegas and those killed in Manhattan still have to do, their hearts broken, unable to move, unable to make sense of what has happened to those that they love, in their grief, I invite you to watch for an act of holiness, an act of resolve, an act of saintliness to emerge. No matter what we are going through, yes, in the bulb there is a flower. Now, the Holy Scriptures give no clear description of what a saint looks like. But in the text read in our hearing today, it does leave a very strong hint. The scripture piece read in our hearing today says that the physicality of the saint is still evolving. For the scripture says, it does not yet appear what we shall be. But this we know. When God appears, we shall be like God, and we shall see God as God is. What does a saint look like? A saint looks like one who has helped another find the way forward from death back to life. A saint looks like the Creator. Let's pray. We thank God, and we thank you, God, for the saints honored by lit candles today, the saints that live in our hearts, and the saints that sit in this very room. We thank you for the chance, once again, to, by helping someone else, have a better, more miraculous life. We thank you for the chance to follow your example. In your Son's name we pray.